Good evening, guys. This is your last one for tonight. It's discussion C. We're discussing the gap between living long and living healthy. It's growing. Refer to a troubling global trend. While people are living longer overall, they're spending more of these years burdened by chronic disease or disability. Based on the article data and context, key findings across 183 countries, there's a 9.6-year difference between average lifespan and years lived in good health, so called health span. In the US, the gap is even larger, 12.4 years, making it the widest among all World Health Organization member states. This means that many people spend over a decade of life in poor health, often managing chronic illnesses or functional limitations, widening over time. In 2000, the average gap was 8.5 years. By 2019, it increased to 9.6 years, a 1.3% raise over 2 decades. Lifespan lifespan is increasing faster than health span, meaning medical advances help us live longer, but not necessarily better. Gender differences. Women tend to have a larger gap, 2.4 years more than men, due to longer average lifespans, which expose them to more years of age related disease. Global health implications. The widening gap affects a shift in global health challenges, from preventing premature death to promoting quality of life in older age. It raises questions about healthcare systems, preparedness to support aging populations, especially regarding chronic care, social service, social services, and equitable access. Giving your deep giving your deep interest in aging, frailty, and equality driven care models. This trend aligns closely with your work. How do you think interdisciplinary approaches like memory friendly design or personalized assessments could help shrink this gap. These are several key factors driving the growing gap between how long people live lifespan and how long they live in good health span. Okay. Chronic disease burden, rise in non-communicable diseases like diabetes, cardiovascular conditions, and neurodegenerative disorders. Many live longer with these conditions thanks to treatments, advances, but not necessarily free of symptoms or limitations. 2. Age-related functional decline. Frailty, mobility issues, and cognitive impairment often emerge in the final decade of life. Even with stable medical matrix, declining ability to carry out daily tasks lowers quality of life. Three, lifestyle and social detriments. Poor nutrition, sedentary behaviors, and smoking and stress contribute to disease onsets. Health disparities, such as access to preventative care, healthy environment, and social support, widen the gap, especially in under resourced communities. 4. Longevity, advancements outpacing preventative care. Medicine has succeeded at extending life, but public health efforts to preserve function and autonomy lag behind. Preventative care, early detection, and rehabilitation services are often underfunded or inaccessible. Gaps in cognitive health interventions. Cognitive decline, dementia, and post concussion symptoms diminish health span. Lack of widespread adoption of memory friendly design, occupational therapy, and alternative neural protective strategies impedes process, something you're actively working to change. System level barriers. Healthcare systems tend to be reactive rather than proactive, fragmented care coordination, and mental uh, minimal investment in long-term support services like housing, mobility aids, and caregiving. Abruptly late in life, health challenges. I think your interdisciplinary lens, blending neuroscience, occupational therapy, housing design, and equality, directly targets these root causes. If we uh, rummaged, reimagined aging from the ground up, what would your idea uh, health span first model include? Great question. The chronic diseases that, especially in terms of autonomy, cognitive function, and quality of life, are often interconnected and influenced by both biological aging and social detriments of health. Here's a breakdown of major ones. Cardiovascular disease includes heart disease, stroke, and hypertension. Leads to mobility limitations, cognitive impairments due to reduced cerebral blood flow, and higher risk of frailty, often under addressed in marginalized populations due to disparities in preventative care. Neurodegenerative disorders, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and related dementias deeply impact independence and quality of life. Memory friendly design and early functional assessments as you advocate can greatly mitigate decline, often diagnosed late, resulting in missed opportunities for interventions. Type 2 diabetes contributes to neuropathy, vision loss, and renal impairment, and higher risk for stroke and cardiovascular disease, strongly influenced by nutrition and social connections, making it a prime target for equality driven reform. For musculoskeletal disorder, arthritis, osteoarthritis, and chronic pain syndromes, reduce mobility and increase fall risks. These are central to frailty profiles, often ignored until after functional decline begins. Chronic respiratory diseases. Conditions like COPD and asthma impair physical endurance and increase isolation, especially in older adults. Environmental factors and housing design, air quality, ventilation plays a large role here. Cancer survivorship. People are living longer post cancer diagnosis, but post treatment complications, fatigue, immune challenges, cognitive fog often shorten health span. Integrated survivorship models are still in early stages. Each of these diseases interacts with aging, biology, functional reserve, and care systems. Your holistic approach linked frailty assessments, cognitive design, and neuro perspectives, protective therapies positions you to reframe chronic care around lived experience rather than just clinical uh, endpoints. If you if you were to prioritize interventions across these areas, which which domain feels most urgent or promising to tackle next? Absolutely, this is where things get especially fascinating because aging biology isn't just a passive backdrop. It actively shapes how chronic diseases develop, progress, and impact health span. Aging biology and disease interaction. Here's how aging processes make us more vulnerable to chronic conditions we discussed. Cellular census. What it is, cells stop dividing and release inflammatory signals. Impact promotes tissue damage and low grade inflammation, contributing to cancer, cardiovascular disease, and frailty. Connection. Since cells accumulate with age, accelerating disease onset and progression. Chronic inflammation, inflamming what it is: persistent, systematic inflammation without infection. Impact: drives insulin resistance, neurodegeneration, joint dis, joint dis, degeneration, and arterial stiffness. Connection: aging, immune systems lose precision targeting, inflammation linked to diseases, Alzheimer's and heart disease. Neurovascular systematic decline. What it is: reduced blood flow and degraded neural connections. Impact: impairs cognition, balance, and memory, hallmarkers of dementia and Parkinson's. Connection: this decline overlaps with traumatic brain injuries and frailty syndromes you're exploring. Mitochondrial dysfunction. What it is: energy, um, producing uh, organs become less efficient and degrade more oxidative stress. Impact: leads to fatigue, muscle loss, sarcopenia, and metabolic disorders. Connection: diabetes and respiratory disease outcomes worsen as cells struggle to produce energy. Advanced hormonal and metabolic regulation. Hormones like insulin, cortisol, and sex steroids become imbalanced. Impacts: affects bone density, immune function, and cognition. Connection: contributes to osteoporosis, arthritis, and mood disorders, especially postmenopausal. uh, ge- genomic uh, instability, epigenetic drift. What it is: DNA diagnosis or DNA damage and shifting gene expression profiles. Impact: raises cancer risks, disrupts regenerative processes, and impairs stress responses. Connection: influences survivorship and recovery after chronic disease onset. This landscape suggests that chronic diseases just isn't just about bad luck or isolated exposures. It's deeply entangled with how our biological systems age and adapt. Given your work on tailored care strategies, where do you think the biggest opportunity to intervene in this cascade would be? Would it be through early frailty detection, neuroprotective design, or perhaps nutritional modulation of inflammatory pathways? There's an existing toolbox of interventions, both clinical and environmental, that can reduce impact of chronic disease on aging and help uh, compress the gap between lifespan and health span. Here's a created set that aligns closely with your work. Cognitive health and environmental design. Memory friendly housing. Improve safety and autonomy and orientation for those with cognitive decline. Stimulating environments. Nature exposure, adaptive lighting, and spiritual cues reduce confusion and aggression. Occupational therapy enhances executive function and minimizes dementia related disability, particularly uh, effective when paired with alternative therapies like music sensory integration, early detection, and tailored assessments. Frailty screening identifies vulnerabilities before disability sets in, enables personalized protective care. Functional performance matrix. Track real world resilience uh, better than conventional labs like gait, speed, gap, grip, strength, and ADL's scales. Predictive biomarkers, emerging tools to detect decrease trajectories and tailor interventions, e.g., inflammation and sarcopenia markers. Nutritional strategies, anti-inflammatory, uh, neuroprotective diets, Mediterranean diet, mind or low glycemic plans improve vascular and cognitive health. Protein optimization supports muscle maintenance and especially post illness or in older adults. Okay, nutrient timing aligns with circadian rhythms to boost metabolic regulation and sleep quality. Cellular metabolic health interventions. Senolytics, environmental drugs that improve dysfunctional cells to reduce chronic inflammation. Mitochondrial support. Nutrac and lifestyle approaches to enhance energy production, e.g., exercise, CoQ10, hormonal modulation, addresses post menopausal bone loss, fatigue, and mood decline through targeted therapies. Systems level changes, integrated care models, cross-disciplinary teams managing chronic conditions, chronic diseases, rehabilitation, housing, and nutrition together. Okay, disease, rehabilitation, housing, and nutrition together. Community-based aging support, transportation, social connection, and caregiver networks improve health span dramatically. Technology enabled monitoring, remote sensors, AI alerts, and wearables for early detection signs. Okay, guys, so that is it for tonight. I will be on tomorrow for shows. I will see everybody later for shows. Till tomorrow, everybody have a good night. Take care, folks.